Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a topic that's about as far from croissants as one can get. We're talking about the deeply troubling, deeply enraging global trade of brides for sale. In the 21st century, there are still places where women are treated like chattel, bought, sold, and traded with little regard for their own agency or consent. Over the next few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at 10 countries where this archaic practice persists, examining the cultural, economic, and societal factors that allow this human rights abuse to thrive. Buckle up, everyone, because this is going to be a heavy one. By shining a light on these injustices, we can start to dismantle the systems that allow them to exist. Let's start in India, a country often celebrated for its vibrant culture and rapid economic growth. Despite being illegal, the practice of selling brides is shockingly common in certain parts of India. This is human trafficking, plain and simple. Women, often from impoverished backgrounds or lower castes, are sold off by their families, sometimes even without their knowledge or consent. The buyers are typically older men, often widowers or those looking for a second wife, who see these women as nothing more than domestic laborers or objects for their own gratification. Once sold, these women are often subjected to horrific abuse, forced labor, and sexual exploitation. The Indian government has made some efforts to address this issue, enacting laws and launching initiatives to empower women, but these efforts often fall short, failing to address the root causes of this deeply entrenched problem. Next, we travel to Afghanistan, a country ravaged by decades of conflict and instability. In Afghanistan, the sale of brides is a horrifying reality for countless women and girls. Families, desperate to survive, often see their daughters as commodities, as bargaining chips to alleviate their own suffering. Young girls, some as young as 8 or 9 years old, are sold off into marriage, often to much older men. These child brides are robbed of their childhood, their education, and their fundamental right to a life free from violence and exploitation. It's a brutal reality that's further exacerbated by the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan. The international community has a moral obligation to step up and provide aid and support to these vulnerable women and girls. Our next stop takes us to Pakistan, a nation grappling with its own set of complex social and economic challenges. Here, the sale of brides is a deeply ingrained issue, fueled by a toxic mix of poverty, patriarchy, and a lack of access to education and justice. In many rural communities, daughters are seen as a burden, a financial liability that their families are eager to unload. The buyers are often older, wealthier men seeking young brides, and the transactions are often conducted openly, as if it were just another business deal. These women and girls are treated as property, their voices silenced, their dreams shattered. The Pakistani government has taken some steps to address this issue, but more needs to be done to protect the rights of women and girls and to bring an end to this horrific practice. Chapter 4: Bangladesh, sold into silence. Let's move on to Bangladesh, a country known for its vibrant culture and its resilience in the face of natural disasters. The sale of brides is a pervasive issue in Bangladesh, driven by a complex web of factors, including poverty, gender inequality, and a lack of access to education and economic opportunities. In Bangladesh, daughters are often seen as an economic burden, while sons are considered an asset. This warped perspective fuels the demand for brides, as families seek to alleviate their own financial struggles by selling off their daughters into marriage. These young girls are often married off to much older men, becoming victims of trafficking and sexual exploitation. Chapter 5: Nepal, Poverty's Brutal Toll. Our journey takes us next to Nepal, a country renowned for its stunning natural beauty and the towering peaks of the Himalayas. Nepal is grappling with the deeply disturbing issue of bride trafficking, a practice fueled by a toxic combination of poverty, lack of education, and deeply ingrained patriarchal norms. In many impoverished communities, daughters are seen as a financial burden, while sons are valued as assets who will carry on the family name. These young girls are often lured with false promises of a better life, only to find themselves trapped in forced marriages, subjected to domestic servitude, sexual exploitation, and unimaginable abuse. The Nepali government, along with various NGOs and international organizations, is working to combat this heinous practice, but much more needs to be done to address the root causes and provide support to the survivors. Chapter 6: China, Lost in the Shadows. Our next stop takes us to China, the world's most populous nation, a global superpower experiencing rapid economic growth and technological advancement. China is grappling with a significant gender imbalance, a direct result of the country's infamous one-child policy, which was enforced for over 3 decades. This gender imbalance has fueled a sinister trade, the trafficking of women and girls from neighboring countries, primarily from Southeast Asia, to be sold as brides to Chinese men. These women are often lured with false promises of work or a better life, only to find themselves trapped in forced marriages, subjected to unimaginable abuse, and isolated in a foreign land. The Chinese government is aware of this issue and is taking steps to address it, but the challenge remains significant. Chapter 7, Vietnam, Fighting for Freedom. Next, we travel to Vietnam, a country known for its stunning landscapes, rich history, and resilient people. Driven by a complex interplay of factors including poverty, gender inequality, and porous borders, this illicit trade preys on vulnerable women and girls, robbing them of their freedom and dignity. Many of these women come from impoverished rural communities, where opportunities are scarce and education is limited. They're often lured by traffickers with false promises of well-paying jobs or a chance at a better life abroad. The Vietnamese government is fully aware of this issue and is taking steps to combat trafficking, but it remains a persistent challenge. Chapter 8, Nigeria, a Silent Epidemic. Our journey takes us now to Nigeria, the most populous nation in Africa, a country brimming with potential but also grappling with significant social and economic challenges. Driven by a toxic mix of poverty, cultural norms, and gender inequality, the sale of brides in Nigeria is a stark reminder of the obstacles that must be overcome to ensure the well-being and empowerment of women and girls. In many Nigerian communities, daughters are seen as commodities, as assets to be traded or sold for the financial gain of their families. These girls are often married off at a very young age, forced into domestic servitude, denied education, and subjected to sexual exploitation. The Nigerian government is working to address this issue, but much more needs to be done to protect these vulnerable women and girls. Chapter 9, Ethiopia, Ancient Traditions, Modern Travesties. Let's turn our attention to Ethiopia, a country with a rich history and vibrant culture. In Ethiopia, the sale of brides is often intertwined with deeply rooted cultural traditions and beliefs, making it a complex and sensitive issue to address. In some communities, the practice is seen as a customary way of arranging marriages, a way to strengthen family ties, and to ensure the economic security of the bride's family. However, this tradition often comes at a steep price, as it perpetuates a cycle of gender inequality and denies women their fundamental rights. The Ethiopian government has made some progress in addressing this issue, but more needs to be done to change societal attitudes, empower women, and provide them with alternative pathways to economic security. Chapter 10, South Sudan, Scars of Conflict. Our final stop takes us to South Sudan, a nation grappling with the aftermath of a long and brutal civil war. One of the most alarming consequences of the war has been the resurgence of bride selling, a practice that had been declining but has seen a disturbing increase in recent years. The reasons behind this resurgence are complex and multifaceted, but they're deeply rooted in the desperation and instability that the conflict has wrought. Families struggling to survive in the wake of unimaginable loss and hardship are often left with few options. In this context of despair and desperation, daughters are often seen as commodities, as assets to be traded or sold to secure much-needed resources or to forge alliances with other families or communities. Breaking the cycle. Well folks, we've reached the end of this grim global tour, and if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, that's understandable. We've just waded through the bleak reality of bride selling in 10 different countries, each with its own unique set of challenges and complexities. But it's important to remember that this isn't just some depressing travelogue. These are real lives, real women and girls whose lives have been irrevocably altered by this abhorrent practice. By shining a light on this issue, by talking about it, by raising awareness, we can start to dismantle the systems that allow it to exist, support organizations working to combat human trafficking, and most importantly, never, ever stop fighting for a world where every single person is treated with the dignity and respect they deserve.